today, leftists melt down over a conspiracy theory about the Postal Service. A new poll shows Biden's lead has significantly been cut. Is the tide turning? And more violence in Portland. We've got a lot coming up, and it starts right now. Welcome to the news and why it matters. Happy Monday. I am Sarah Gonzalez. Glad to be back in studio. It was a weird weekend. Happy also to be joined by Eric July, BlazeTV contributor. Thanks for being here. And Yaku Buyans, host of the Yaku Buyans Show, who you look like you're very tan. You look like you've had some time outdoors.
I had some time outdoors.
Yeah.
Playing a little bit of golf.
Playing golf. Well, we're all jealous.
It was good.
All right, we've got a lot to get into. Let's start with the Postal Service. This is when I alluded to the weird weekend. It was a really weird weekend if you live on social media like those of us do who do this for a living, and you have to live on social media to stay up to date on everything that's trending. So let's start with, I think it was Friday. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has summoned House members to return to Washington this week. Now, I just want, let's back up. She's asked them to return because previously they had decided that they were going to take a recess without coming to an agreement on the coronavirus relief bill. So Nancy Pelosi, fine with leaving millions of Americans perhaps in need of some relief from the government telling them they needed to shut down their businesses, but calling members back in from recess because there's this weird conspiracy theory that Trump is engaging in Postal Service sabotage. Yeah. So they say he's interfering with normal operations at the U.S. Postal Service to hinder the agency's ability to handle mail-in voting. Pelosi said, alarmingly, across the nation, we see the devastating effects of the president's campaign to sabotage the election by manipulating the Postal Service to disenfranchise the voters. Postmaster General, one of top Trump mega donors, has proven a complicit crony as he continues to push forward sweeping new operational changes that degrade Postal Service, delay the mail, and according to the Postal Service itself, threaten to deny the ability of eligible Americans to cast their votes through the mail in the upcoming elections in a timely fashion. Now, again, weird when you ask them for the proof that President Trump is, in fact, trying to sabotage the election. There is one that we have that from Rex Chapman, who says, have you ever in your life seen a locked mailbox at the USPS? Well, now you have. Now you have, except that's often done to, like, in high crime areas to prevent mail from being stolen. It dates back like a really long time, so not really an issue. And then another one, the USPS is literally backing up trucks to mailboxes and taking them away. Here are photos of mailboxes being decommissioned in Portland and Oregon. Check out how many are already on the trucks. But today's news is probably going to be about golden showers instead. That's disgusting. But of course, Trump's opponents, they say that he did this to sabotage the election. However, the USPS regularly removes the big mailboxes in low traffic areas. Eric.
Yeah, this is a whole lot of just trash. And I mean, the USPS is also trash.
Yeah, I was going to say, which one?
I am frustrated with them. I know this has nothing to do with the topic, but I have a package that they have not delivered to me. They probably lost it. Supposed to get here on the 8th.
It does have to do with the topic, though. It does because they're acting like we've never seen United States Postal Service delays before. Yeah. Just now are we seeing
it? There's a precedent.
Yeah,
saying, hey, there's a precedent
exactly. Yeah, they most definitely with that. Look, I'm, of course, going to be the guy at the table that's going to try to get this thing back on the rails. Like, why is this even a thing? As in, like, the USPS, that thing should have been abolished. Well, it shouldn't have ever been a thing, but especially now when you have so many different competing agencies that can exist and would pop up in the event that they went away, like, today. Like, assuming that, let's say that they were like, all right, we're done operations, there would be the FedExes of the world, the UPSs of the world would have absolutely no problem. In fact, the USPS distorts the market because of how, you know, they have that backing, that state-protected monopoly backing them in the government or the federal government in some capacity. But this is a big nothing burger as far as what they're pointing to. They're just grasping for straws right now. And that's, what can we look at? Oh, he's trying to sabotage the election because there's locked mailboxes. And they actually have on their website, you can go and they explain like why I mean, that was looking at something that dated back to 2016, or like why they're explaining to you why these boxes are like going away, why they're downsizing in certain areas. So
it's because they suck and no one wants to use them anymore.
But it's like to act as if that hasn't been happening is just a big nothing burger, but it's something they could point to. It really also does show that this whole virus thing, mail-in voting thing, is something that they recognize is something that they could work to their advantage. Otherwise, they wouldn't be grasping for these straws and fighting like all hell to defend this such an inefficient institution that we call the United States Postal Service.
Yeah, Yaku, I do want to get your thoughts, but let me just, to Eric's point, let me just throw in someone who agrees with him, which was Obama back in 2009 at a town hall meeting. Here's what he had to say.
If you think about it, you know, UPS and FedEx are doing just fine, right? No, they are. I mean, it's the post office that's always having problems.
Oh my gosh, I remember back when you could say the Postal Service sucks without being accused of sabotaging an election, Yaku.
Yeah, isn't it so convenient, right? If you were going to introduce a new system with 3 months before an election, would you pick a broken system to drive it? Unless you want it to be broken. Unless you don't want it to be fair and balanced, right? It's been broken forever. It hasn't made money in a very long time. This is the United States of America competitive market. If they go away, 2 or 3 will spring up real quick and it'll be really efficient, right? This is all about stealing the election. This is all about mail-in voting. They say the president is running a campaign, right? All these fluffy words. This is social media conspiracy at its best, and you'll see mailboxes coming from places. Look, it's a failing organization, just like big box retail. You close doors when it's failing. They're pulling mailboxes off because it's not working, because people are using UPS and they're using FedEx and they're not using the Postal Service. That's why this is happening. I like the big nothing burger. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
I like that. It's a big nothing burger. Yeah.
Well, what about I've seen, I believe, Maxine Waters say it. I think I saw Nancy Pelosi say it as well. But, you know, they are now accusing him of President Trump withholding Social Security checks from people who get Social Security because he's going to defund the Postal Service and they're not going to get their Social Security checks in the mail. Funnily enough, Obama actually ended Social Security checks in the mail like 10 years ago. So blatant lie there. And then you've got people like it or not, Taylor Swift, who apparently is impressionable to many young minds who are too stupid to know any better and do their own research and listen to exactly what Taylor Swift has to say, even though she also knows nothing about anything other than singing and breaking up with a bunch of boyfriends. But she actually tweeted out, Trump's calculated dismantling of the USPS proves one thing clearly. He is well aware that we do not want him as our president. He's chosen to blatantly cheat and put millions of Americans' lives at risk in an effort to hold on power. His ineffective leadership gravely worsened the crisis that we are in, and he is now taking advantage of it to subvert and destroy our right to vote and vote safely. Request a ballot early, vote early. You know, it's interesting because all of these people keep saying we have to have mail-in voting. It's too dangerous out there. But all of these people are also like, go to protests.
Protest.
Safe enough to protest, not safe enough to go to the voting booth.
We have a voting system that works just fine. It's amazing, right? It can always be improved. Look, I see another great Taylor Swift song coming because you always write a good song after defeat. Right. So she'll write another good one November 5th, 6th, 7th, another Crimea River song, and off she will ride into the sunset. Look, this is all about, the Social Security issue. They are grabbing at straws. They actually this is a pasta theory. Throw anything against the wall and see what will stick.
It's just all blatant lies.
100%. There's no substance to it. And we should push really hard. The president should push hard. But he made a great point yesterday. It's Nancy Pelosi that's withholding funding from the Postal Service because it's in that stimulus package that she has with all the other nonsense that's grafted into it. She's actually holding up the funding. The Postal Service is just doing what any struggling business, and they're losing money, would be doing. They're downsizing.
Yeah. Eric, I mean, he does make an interesting point, Yaku does, because, you see Nancy Pelosi doing what she accuses the president of doing. Typically, that is what we see from the left, isn't it? That they're projecting what they're doing, trying to cheat, trying to pull something underhanded in the election, and they're projecting it onto the president with absolutely no basis to do so.
You think that they would be defending this whole idea of mail-in vote because they care about safety?
Right.
Come on, man.
No.
They absolutely know that there's something that benefits them in the event that something like that happens. So it's not like, you don't look at it at surface level like they just give a crap about any of this. They wouldn't be so rigorously defending this idea of this whole mail-in voting if they didn't feel like that it benefited them personally definitely as a party. As far as how they're going to rig that, who knows? I'm not necessarily with that institution anyway, but it's just so bizarre that seems to be how they operate, where it's like, we'll claim that you're doing what we actually are doing,
right,
and you'll be made to look like the bad guy because they are. It's funny, they claim the other side is spreading the misinformation, but they often do the exact thing of spreading that misinformation and misleading people. And that's why we have people that place things on certain other individuals, whether it be the president, have nothing to do with the president, and they're blaming them on this and that, and they can get away with that because they spread this bogusness, and it is a projection. I think we should treat it as such, that all they're doing is like, hey, I'm going to claim that you're doing exactly what I'm doing, and everybody's going to think you're the bad guy, when you don't have to be a brainiac in order to point the fact out that, clearly that's exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, it's the same as the Russia.
Rigging the election. It's like the Russian thing.
Russia hoax, the whole deal. Look, desperate times calls for desperate measures. What you're seeing today is you're seeing a Democratic Party that is desperate. They are scattering. They do not look good right now. I don't care what the polls are saying. They are not looking good. They're really nervous. They're very, very nervous. And this is where you see desperate measures, blatant lies. But come on, America. Don't have the wool pulled over your eyes. Come on, you got to be able to think for yourself here for a second.
Yeah.
Have you had problems with the Postal Service before? Probably yes.
Probably everybody that watches the show has.
There's no way that someone who
lost packages,
sends mail has never had a problem with the post office. It shouldn't be a far stretch to understand that that's not the most efficient way to get an election done.
Let it die.
Yeah.
Let it die.
All right, we've got a lot more coming up. Yaku mentioned the polls. Well, there may be a tide turning, we don't know, but a new CNN poll we've got to discuss, would love to get your thoughts on. But in the meantime, we would like to thank our sponsor, Candid. So for those of you who maybe you're like me and you or your parents spend a lot of money on your teeth, making them really straight when you were younger, and then you stopped wearing your retainer because you were like, it's fine, I'm an adult, I don't need to wear my retainer, and then your teeth shifted again, and then you were like, oh crap, my teeth are crooked again, and now I have to do something about it. Well, my friends over at Candid can help you. They helped me. Candid clear aligners, they're comfortable, you can remove them, and they're totally invisible. They're not anything like wire braces, so you can transform your smile without anyone noticing. Obviously, your treatment is going to be prescribed and monitored by a licensed orthodontist who is an expert in tooth movement. It's not going to be a general dentist or someone who is not licensed to do so. And they're going to give you a full overview of what your treatment looks like. Oftentimes, it's like half the time of treatment with braces, and also way less money because you're doing it directly through Candid. You don't have to go to orthodontist appointments. You don't have to set all that time up. You don't have to leave work and go visit them. Or if you have kids, your kids have to leave school, go visit the orthodontist every couple weeks. You don't have to do that. It is all done directly to your door, and it's super easy. The average Candid treatment is 6 months. I promise you, you will start seeing results way before then. Like, I saw them in weeks just weeks, and it costs 50% less than Invisalign. You got to try them out. They will ship it directly to your door. Like I said, they give you the impressions, you send them back. It's super easy. It helped me. It can help you. Go to candidco.com/Y. Use promo code Y and you will get $75 off of your kit. That is candidco.com/Y. Promo code Y to get $75 off. All right, a CNN poll that was just released yesterday found that President Trump has significantly cut into Joe Biden's lead ahead of the DNC convention this week. The poll, now it only surveyed 1,108 registered voters, but it showed Biden narrowly holding on to a 50-46 lead over Trump with the margin of error of 4%. So within that margin of error, which is a huge change from the poll's previous tally in June that showed Biden with a 14-point edge. So cutting that significantly. And the results were even tighter across 15 battleground states, Biden leading by just 1 percentage point, 49 to 48%. What do you think? Well, first of all, I've got a couple different questions for you. Number one, I know we always say you can't trust the polls, don't listen to the polls. So how much weight do we give these polls in, what is it? It's almost September for a November election. And if we give them some weight, what would be the driving factor, do you think, behind this, not switch, but behind this significant catching up, if you will, of President Trump?
Yeah, I mean, I don't ever place too much into the polls in general, but yeah, I do think it's something worth highlighting when it's the same poll that then shows a shift and change as far as where it's slanted. But I don't place too much stock in polls. If it is going to shift, I would say it's just, look, you've been paying attention to what's been going on around the country. I think it's easy to get lost in certain social media, like Twitter, definitely. Twitter has a really specific demographic, and it's not anything remotely representative of the entire country.
It's mostly just garbage people.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. That
not any of you. You guys are cool. It's the rest of them I'm talking about.
Yeah, it can get, social media can be very misleading when it comes to what people are supporting. When you are considering the nation at large or multiple nations at large, even myself, I sometimes look at like, man, there's no way that can be the case. And then you have to take a step back. And you think about, well, what is Taylor Swift post gets 150,000 likes, and you're like, wow. And then you're like, wait a minute. That's not even like a drop in a bucket of the DFW Metroplex, right? As far as that population. So you kind of got to, think about this. But everybody has been paying attention. I've seen a lot of people shift on this lockdown thing. People in my posts, I pay attention to that stuff. So you guys that are tweeting me, yes, I know when you change your position 5 months after the fact, when you was like, oh, it was a great idea. Wait a minute. Now it's not a great idea because we went from flatten the curve to shut the country down inevitably until we get a vaccine. A lot of people don't like that. People are starting to struggle a little more, right? Not as many funds coming out. So people are starting to, it's kind of funny when you strip that welfare statism away. How many people be like, well, maybe we should get back to work because the government's not going to be funding us. So when you see that and add that to like the protesting and all of that that's going on with people actually getting severely injured, and in some cases it seems to get in those isolated areas where they are in the bigger cities, the Portlands or the Seattles, it seems sometimes even maybe crossing over into, residential areas. Like, so people are wary about that. Like, because generally, I would argue that since most people don't vote anyway, most people are apolitical and they just want to mind their own business. You know what I mean? It's those other guys that are aggressively out there trying to rule over you, and use the government to do whatever whimsical ideals it is that they particularly have. So if there is a shift, I think that's the reason. It's just we've been the world has been really crazy, but how this country has been handling this virus and all of that in terms of shutting people down and shutting people up has been bizarre. And I think that could sway a lot of people. So
perhaps Democrats showing their true colors, according to Eric. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think what you're saying, look, the polls are never and have never been leaning to the right. Polls always lean left, right? So when you see a gap closing with a poll that normally leans left, that's not good for the left. Because think of 16. I mean, that gap just widened all the way to the election day. But I think what you're seeing is you're seeing some moderate Democrats, if there's such a thing left, get really tired. I think they're tired. They're exhausted, keeping up with their own party and the antics and the anti-American rhetoric and all this stuff. And here's another thing you got to support if you're with us. And I'm like, this is another thing that I'm not for. And so I think they're getting really tired. And I'm thinking you're going to see a swing here where some of the more conventional, true Democrats, not far left-leaning individuals, are actually either not going to vote or going to come over to Trump. I think this is not good for the left. And I'm not a poll person.
Right.
I'm not.
Yes.
But this does not show well, because typically by now it would widen. You know, in 16 it was widening, right? Yeah. Hillary run off with the whole thing, right? And it closing. And then you got to speak about Joe Biden's, health condition. Yeah. You have to talk about them going, this is really the best we've got. You want me to throw weight behind this guy? There's no way,
Yeah.
So.
Well, I have to wonder if this next story is kind of playing into perhaps moderates or independents and maybe them reevaluating if they want to side with the left, if the left is, in fact, the party that they would like to belong to. After news broke that President Trump's younger brother, Robert Trump, had died, the hashtag... Eric, we were just discussing that Twitter is like that's
the worst people on there, man.
Garbage.
Yeah,
it's just garbage. Yeah. I do have to remind myself as well after I get off there, I'm like, this is not real life. This is not real life. This is not real life. But they had started to trend the hashtag Wrong Trump. By Sunday morning, Wrong Trump was one of the highest trending topics on Twitter. And for those of you who are not getting the connotation still, they were saying that the wrong Trump had died, that Donald Trump should have been the one that died instead. Here is, this is ironic, Bishop Talbert Swan says, "Dear Grim Reaper, you took the wrong Trump." Wow, that's a godly man right there.
He's not a real bishop, right?
That is,
he's wow. What an example. Speaks volumes.
I don't know what Bible he's reading. It's not the one that I've read. Adam Goldberg said, "Wrong Trump," and then I waited 10 minutes. That's really classy, guys. So you have to wonder if it's this kind of rhetoric, this kind of thing that is playing into the more moderate people, the independents going, you know what, this isn't the party that I want to belong to, the party that claims that they are the party of love, they are the party of acceptance, they are the party of tolerance. Anytime it seems like you hear of anything happening, going wrong with a Republican, it's just like, we hope they die.
I mean, what happened with Herman Cain? You know, like, these guys want you dead. When I say that, I think I've said that I don't know how many times about this whole deal. I say they want you dead. I'm not playing. Like, I know people think like, oh, well, hey, you're being hyperbolic. No, they generally, they want you dead. They want their opposition dead. This is why they will cheer like that. And it's not just, oh, if it's Trump, it's if it's like I just mentioned, you know, anybody to the right of Bernie Sanders, that's how they feel. They want you actually dead. And it's an unfortunate thing. But it does expose them for being the frauds that they are, because they try to perpetuate this idea as if they are the ones that are so caring, they're so loving, they care so much about other people and their livelihoods and so forth, until it's something bad happens to someone that that disagrees with them. Then it's like, well, wait a minute. You know, this is awesome. This is awesome. Or somebody died, his dude's brothers died, and you're saying wrong guy. You know, like, come on, man. These are not good, genuine people that actually care about other folks' livelihoods. And I think that if you are an individual that's just looking at this and you are an actual voter, man, you know, you don't really lean one way or the other, I can imagine that you look at all of what's happened, including something like this. Yes, of course, that could sway you. You could be like, why in the world would I want to support those types of people? Not only is that like not a cool thing to advocate, but also it's showing them to be big frauds.
Yeah. I'm proud of you for highlighting this. Honestly, I am, because it does show what the heart's filled with, the mouth runs over with. Maybe the bishop needs to go read that quote from the Bible, okay? Because your heart's filled with hate. It's hate driven. It's hate that makes you say, burn the city down.
Yeah.
It's hate that says hurt these people but protect these people, right? There's no equality in their hearts. That's not what it's about. But remember, Twitter. People play for a quick win. So they'll say whatever they want to say on Twitter because they want the like. They want to be on Taylor Swift's feed, right? That's not what they're going to go do when they vote. This is the irony in it because nobody sees. There's no attention, you know.
Or if they vote.
Or if they vote, right? And so that's true. So I don't put any stock. The Twitter sphere has lost. They've lost. That platform is so corrupted. It's so fake and artificial that, you know, you just push it aside. You know, so I don't put any stock in that. But you're seeing repeatedly real hate coming out of the far left. Things like this. People who have an opportunity to set an example, say, hey, listen, in this battle right now, I'm going to lay my swords down. The man just lost his brother.
Yeah.
You know what? We're going to be good human beings first. Before you're even an American, we're just going to be good human beings. And honestly, for that bishop, should be ashamed.
Yeah. I think this is a great example of what happens when politics becomes a godless people's religion. We've got more to come. First, we want to thank our sponsor, Rough Greens. If you are a dog owner, you're in the United States. We all love our dogs. They're often referred to, like people are like, I'm a dog mom. I don't have kids. I'm just a dog mom. So we are like obsessed with our dogs. Obviously, we want to keep them healthy so that they can live a long life, as long as possible, because our dogs don't live long enough already as it is. I feel this way. I know you feel this way. Let me give you a product that can help you increase the longevity of your dog's life and increase their health, really help them thrive. It is called Rough Greens. So one of the things that your dog obviously needs is nutrients, just like us. We need vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, probiotics, omega oils. We need these things to stay healthy. Unfortunately, they're not getting it from the dry dog food that you're giving them because they're killing all of the alive stuff they're going to get all that in their diet. They're killing it to sterilize it, to give it that long shelf life. You can put it back into their food with Rough Greens. It is a supplement. It's not going to replace your dog's food. It's a supplement. You're going to sprinkle it on top of the food, and it is jam-packed with all of those things that I just told you about. It's going to put that back into the dog's food. The dog will live a happy and healthier lifestyle. Also, they're going to love it. If you have a picky eater like our dog, they're going to eat it right up. You will know that they are getting the best nutrition possible. You can take the Rough Greens 14-day Jumpstart Challenge today. It is $14.95. You will see the difference in your dog in 14 days or less, especially for those of you who if you have an older dog, they're getting older. They might be getting some arthritis. They might not be getting around as well as they used to. You got to give them Rough Greens. It will help with their joints. They might not thank you like in English, but I promise you they will be appreciative of it. You can go to roughgreens.com/blaze. That is RUFF greens.com/blaze. Violent rioters, yes, I said rioters, not peaceful protesters, allegedly beat a man in Portland last night, kicking and punching him in the head after he reportedly defended someone that had been attacked. Yes, he went through the awful crime of defending someone who was being attacked, which is what men should do. Well, he got beat to hell for it. Now, we do have a video of the beating, of him getting kicked in the head and knocked out. I do want to warn you, if you have small children, this is a pretty graphic video, so you may want to pause this, get them out of the room, do whatever you need to do before you watch this video. But here it is.
Loser! Trying to run people over! Get him out of the street! Get him out of the street! Yeah, dog!
Now, some people were pouring water on his head. Some people were establishing Black Lives Matter responsibility for the attack. But I did see that a lot of the rioters in Portland were accusing him of trying to run people over. Well, he was just there to run people over. Now, my first reaction was, I'm pretty sure if he was in a car, he could have just done what he was there to do and run people over and then just driven off because he's in a car and he wouldn't need to worry about that. But footage actually emerged of him beforehand in his truck. And he starts to get harassed by these people while he's in the truck. He's trying to honk to get people out of the way. And then he tries to take off to get away from the crowd who is harassing him. Here's a little bit of that.
You're gonna break your bro, chill the down. And then you really won't be able to get out of this game. Stop. Yo, what are you doing? You didn't do nothing. Go get that license. You didn't do nothing, bro.
And there they chase him down. I gotta tell you, I'm driving through a neighborhood or a downtown area or wherever late at night and people are harassing me. I don't know that I give them as much time as that gentleman did to leave so that I can proceed. I don't think I do that.
No, I mean, he clearly was not trying to cause issues.
No.
Nobody stops like that trying to explain themselves or anything. Like, that's not what people that definitely have the intentions of doing bad things, that's not what they want to do, right? They don't do that. So, look, I've been saying this about these perpetual protests, is that when it comes to, I don't care what you label them, Antifa, Black Lives Matter, or just random guys that are protesting being opportunistic, these guys either endorse this type of behavior or they're absolutely powerless in being able to stop it. Even when you got people that are there on the scene saying he didn't do anything, and still they screw with them.
Right.
And we keep seeing this over and over and over and over. We need to stop acting like these guys are just freedom fighters that care about liberating people. That's not who these people are. A lot of these folks maybe just want to be a part of something. But again, it doesn't seem to take much for these peaceful protests to turn into something that is violent in the event that you are driving down there. And this is why I'm always encouraging people, look, if you absolutely have to drive in these areas, you need to be armed.
Yes.
Number one, I'm being serious. I don't care if you
right.
need to be armed, because you never know what happened. I mean, nobody thinks that they're going to be in the situation until they are in the situation. Mm-hmm. And so if you have to, I would say avoid those areas altogether. But if you are in those areas, man, you have to protect yourself, because you see how crazy it could escalate. And, then next thing you know, your car is surrounded, people trying to pull you out the car, beat you up. See, I'm not having that. That's what I got the Sig Sawyer for. I'm not playing any of those games. But seriously, these people, and I want folks that even are pro-protest to acknowledge that. Like, we've seen too many examples of people, not even talk about the property. I know for whatever reason they think property damage isn't violence, but we've seen literal violence by way of these sort of perpetual protesting that are happening in this area. To act like it doesn't exist is being completely disingenuous, and you have to acknowledge that. We need to stop pretending that that's the case. You guys are not freedom fighters. And again, if you are such freedom fighters, you don't seem to have the ability to contain the people that are using your groups to do bad things. Either way, obviously you're not scaring them away.
Yeah.
They're even if they're being opportunistic, they don't fear you enough to be like, all right, we're going to use this opportunity to just go be lousy, crack pipes and do whatever it is that we want to do.
Yeah, not just the pro-protester crowd, but any Democrat lawmaker. Would you like to come out and condemn this? I don't think I've heard
Act
much
like it
from
doesn't
them.
even exist.
They do.
It's weird.
They do. Who is it?
They said like
Nadler?
Antifa was fake and all
It's
of
just
that.
a myth.
Nadler
It's
said
just a myth.
Yeah,
It's
Nadler,
just a
but
myth.
Nadler is a joke. I blame 100% of this falls on the heads and the hands of the politicians.
Mm-hmm.
You've lost your city. You've abdicated your oath to protect and defend the people and keep law and order, right? And for that kid that kicks that guy on his knees in the street from behind, you're a coward, 100% a coward. Okay, you should be taken back by the shed and be taught a lesson. You gotta be armed. Stay away from these areas. Don't go look for action. And I'm telling you, when it's time to defend yourself, any police officer will tell you, or military officer will tell you, when it's time to defend yourself, you do it with force. You do it with force. You don't sit there with your arms up and down, reason with these people. These are people that you can't reason with. These are people probably high on crack or meth or something, okay? If it's time to defend yourself, you go for broke and you get out of Dodge, right? Yeah. The best fight you can ever get into is the one you walk away from. Right, so he should have. Now the girl that was there, was she his girlfriend? Because they punched the woman in the face, which is number one. I mean,
they just pummeled her.
Yeah. Exactly. So he sat there and tried to be nice. You do not reason with these people.
And then you're not seeing that. And these are probably, and this is why when you're looking at that, I'm telling you, like these are people that are looking at that and they're like, I don't know if I want to support this group, right? Because this stuff happens to people. You'd be surprised. Who knows? That guy's politics is probably right alongside them.
Yes.
And that's probably why he's reasoning with them.
Exactly.
We ain't even on the same page, so I ain't got nothing to say to you. You think I'll be rolling my window down trying, hey, no, I'm just trying. No, I ain't got time for that. But usually someone that's like, hey, I'm on your side will be the guys that are trying to absolutely reason with you. You probably got one less, two less, maybe hundreds of less of fans now.
Yeah, now that they've seen it. You got to wonder how people can still be calling to defund the police right about now, watching videos like that. All right, we've got more coming up. Back in a minute. That's what gets me. I'm like, okay, so you want to have... Schools in the J.O. Combs Unified School District in Arizona, they were scheduled to open today, but the school district was forced to cancel the reopening after teachers staged a, quote, sick out as a protest against going back to work during the coronavirus pandemic. More than 100 teachers and other staff members called in sick ahead of the reopening, and they had to cancel all in-person classes as well as virtual learning because I guess the teachers who were scheduled to do the virtual learning, like they were really worried that they were going to catch COVID from a Zoom call. I assume, Eric, because I don't know of another reason to hold up kids learning over this.
How many times do I have to tell you guys, like, it's got to go. Public education has been rotten. It's been rotten for so long. Now you're seeing how rotten that it is.
Can I just, hold on, off air, Eric and I were talking before the show, and I was like, 2020 is really your year.
Yeah, like I'm always pointing. I've been pointing at, you look at my video, I got videos dating back this entire decade, right? Talking about all of this. In 2020, all of it comes into fruition.
He's like, I said this 5 years ago.
I'm like,
thanks for listening.
Trust me, but seriously, you guys are seeing how rotten that this is, where their politics are, where their social politics are. There's an issue there. And I think that a lot of these folks are in positions that they would not have if the market was actually competitive, right? And this is why I say if they are teachers that are worth a crap, if you got rid of it, they have a job. And actually, we've seen that. I've been reading a lot of stories about that type of stuff where they're like, I'm no longer part of the public education system. And a group of homeschooling, mothers are like, please come teach our kids, right? And now they got a class of 5
and they make more money.
Yeah, exactly.
Cream rises to the top.
Absolutely.
Buddy. Always. You don't have to worry. A 10-year program, this whole nonsense. The only country that has this, by the way.
It's out of date.
You know what the left school policy should be named? Every child left behind. Versus no child left behind. This is what it should be because they don't care about your kids.
No.
They don't care. They own the kids.
Staging a fake sickness. It's despicable. You should be fired. Let them lose their jobs, all of them, legitimately, and hire a teacher that actually wants to work and wants to be an educator for the right reason.
It's interesting because I feel like we've had a common theme during this show, which is maybe contributing to these new poll numbers, which is the left overplaying their hand. Yeah. We're seeing a lot of that, I feel, including with this story, just this entire coronavirus pandemic, just the mask mandates that you referred to, Eric, of the left saying, you know what, we're going to take this power and run with it, and we're going to dictate these things to people. And then these teachers who are in these unions who pretend to care about the students, but when it comes down to it, they just want to use it to as a negotiation tactic to not have to work or get something in exchange.
They're holding your kids in education hostage, man. Like these guys aren't acting in good faith. Now you're seeing that, and a lot of people that, you know, have kids obviously in these education systems are seeing that. You're seeing how these guys are, what they actually truly prioritize and what they actually care about.
If you give evil any encouragement, which is what they've done, right? They've lost control. The left have lost control of their narrative. They lost control, and I think the tipping point for me was when their key witness came out in the whole Russia hoax, and it fell flat. From there, it's been a snowball's effect. They've just momentum's picking, and it's out of control, like we just saw in Portland. I think they sit and go, man, we can't control this thing anymore. We can't. The teachers are just taking off. It's like way overboard. We can't control them. They've lost control of their. It's almost like they're sects in their camp. And now, I'm actually enjoying it, not to the demise of the children, but for the real heart to be shown. You know, true
absolutely.
colors are coming out.
Absolutely.
Well, and I mean, to your point, the LA, the largest teachers union in LA, I mean, they were like, yeah, we're going to use this as an opportunity to defund the police.
Correct.
And charter schools.
Telling on themselves. So when I say that it's an indoctrination, I say it's an indoctrination camp. People get all mad and upset at me, like, oh, how could you say that it's an indoctrination camp? Oh, I don't know, maybe because they do stuff like this, as they're trying to use your kids and as hostage negotiate terrorists. Like I said, you're not supposed to negotiate with them like that anyway. But they got your kids hostage, and then they trying to play these politics with things that ain't got nothing to do with them teaching your kids, which is the position that they're supposedly filling. So yeah, like, look, man, these guys are rotten, but the institution itself is rotten. When you look at all of these young folk out here in the Portlands of the world, kicking folk in the face and all that, you need to sit there and look at what institution pumped these. I can say so many words, but we're on air. But that pump these kind of guys out, and it's that public education system is the reason why it's called an indoctrination camp, and that's why I call it that.
Yeah, Yaku, they're saying the quiet parts out loud now.
Yeah. Out loud. I saw a 3-year-old the other day throw a tantrum, and the parent said, stop, and the child literally says, I don't know how to stop. Welcome to the Liberal Party. They don't know how to stop. I told you, they're a bunch of 3-year-olds. You're dealing with temper tantrums, and you don't tolerate that. You don't negotiate with terrorists, as you said, but they don't know how to help themselves. They can't stop. It's going to self-implode. Watch. Just the month of September is going to be fun.
The pendulum's going to swing back the other way. It always does, historically. It'll swing back the other way. And are they ready for that? We're going to see.
I have to correct you a little bit. Your analogy, the 3-year-old, I think, is a little bit more mature because he knew enough to say, I don't know how to stop.
They like to pretend they know what they're talking about.
Yeah, the left doesn't even realize what they don't know.
They don't even know what they don't know.
All right, back in a minute.
Touche.
Awesome.
This 3-year-old was yelling. The parents like, just stop. I don't know how.
All right. Friday's poll question. God, it is a Monday, isn't it? Do you have hope for America's future? 69% of you said yes, followed by almost 31% of you who said no. That's higher than I would have anticipated. Almost 70% of you have hope for America's future because I hear the headlines every day and I'm like, wow, we're all screwed. We're all screwed. So it's good to know that there are other people who maybe are not as pessimistic as I am. Do you have hope for America's future?
Yeah, I actually do, because I'm looking at the fact that, like, when I keep seeing Portland, I mean, it is happening in other cities, but I see that kind of craziness happening, and I'm seeing people's opinions and stuff change. Like I say, it'll swing back the other way.
Yeah, do you agree, Yaku?
Yeah, squeaky wheel makes noise. That's not America. I've got incredible hope for this country. I think, sometimes you need to reveal evil for people to wake up.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
That's what's happening.
Yeah. Today's poll, will Joe Biden step down before November and let Kamala lead the Democratic 2020 ticket? Wow. What do you think, Eric?
Nah, there's no chance.
They're going to wait.
He's going to make it happen if he got to do something funky to make it happen. He'll drive that thing all the way into the ground, and that's the one thing that everybody else has going for them. So I don't see him doing that at all.
Yeah, I think he rides this horse into the sunset. He's staying on it. I don't think there's a switch.
Did you guys see the report that came out that said that Obama had said, like, you guys are underestimating the ability Joe has to screw this stuff up? And I was like, oh, I bet he did say that. I bet Obama did say that, because it's no coincidence.
He would know.
He was quiet.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Remember, they used to send him overseas to keep him quiet. Where's Joe? Just put him on a trip.
Thanks, guys, for being here.
Thank you.